Video production can be a vastly complicated subject, and that's where we can help. So if you're new to the video world and you're trying to find the right camera for your situation, then this video is for you. There isn't just one type of video camera, it's an enormous market catering for many different types of people, recording environments and outcomes. From small YouTube vlogging channels right up to billion-dollar AAA movies, different cameras are used to suit different productions and workflows the best. Let's start right at the smallest and often cheapest end of the scale, point and shoot cameras. If you're a YouTube vlogger filming yourself wandering around the city, taking in the sights, or even just staying at home making gaming videos with the need for a gamer cam style setup, this camera is the perfect type of camera for you. As the name point and shoot suggests, they couldn't be easier to set up. You point and then you shoot. The camera does all the hard work for you, such as adjusting the exposure and focus so that you can have a hands-off approach to the recording process, with some of the newest models on the market offering advanced features like eye tracking focus to help keep things as sharp as possible. The quality of a decently priced point and shoot camera often surpasses that of even the newest smartphones, which also offer the same kind of fully automatic functionality. In the world of vlogging, where anything can happen at any time, this type of camera offers the instantly ready-to-go functionality many creators need in order to concentrate on keeping their content engaging. Point and shoot cameras are one of the most compact solutions for a video camera, and more often than not, they're actually photography cameras with an added video functionality, often limited to 30 minutes of recording time per clip. Although point and shoot cameras don't have replaceable lenses, meaning you can't customize the look of the footage you're capturing as it's being filmed, they do tend to offer great focal lengths, sometimes up to 30 times zoom or more, the compromise often being a physical zoom part of the way and then digital for the rest, adding noise and distortion at higher zoom levels. One downside of the smaller lens on this type of camera is that the limited aperture can restrict the amount of light that can reach the sensor, meaning less than ideal performance in low light environments. Any footage we capture on a point and shoot will more than likely be stored on an SD card or a micro SD card, which can easily be plugged into a computer or tablet to retrieve the footage. Most point and shoot cameras offer full HD recording, or 1080p, with the occasional more expensive camera offering 4K video capture. However, these cameras often use highly compressed video formats, so don't expect to be able to match the performance of a more expensive camera, despite the resolution the more compact cameras can provide. Just like on an iPhone or a Samsung smartphone, it may be 4K video, but it's likely to be highly compressed. A great example of a point and shoot camera is the Sony ZV-1, coming in at around £700 in the UK, which is specifically designed for vlogging. If you need more versatility, the ability to change lenses for example, then let's introduce the DSLR. The digital single lens reflex camera is a very popular style of camera used throughout videography due to their compact size, reasonably lightweight and customizability. Many DSLRs are sold as body only, meaning you have just the image processing brain of the camera where you also find the controls, and the lens is purchased separately to allow customization based on the type of production that you're working on, whether it's a super wide lens, meaning you can capture an entire room in one wide shot, or a powerful zoom lens allowing for long distance shooting. DSLR cameras are also much more flexible in terms of the control of the image. Whether it's adjusting the ISO, frame rate or shutter speed, DSLRs allow us to customize the video's look and format. Many cameras offer a wide range of industry standard frame rates from 24 frames a second to 25, 30, 50 or 60, which are the most commonly used frame rates. But it depends on the destination of your video as to which of those you should choose, as well as the aesthetic that you're going for. 25 or 30 frames per second is normally a safe bet if you're aiming your content at social media sites such as Facebook, Instagram or YouTube, and will give the most natural looking result. To find out more about frame rates and to learn how to make your image look more natural, take a look at the video explaining all about how to set up your camera correctly, which will be linked at the end of this video. One big advantage of using a DSLR is that they feature an optical viewfinder, which is a precise example of the image or video that you'll see when you begin to record. Once the image is focused through the lens, the light is transferred to a mirror that then reflects what the video will look like once captured, through to the viewfinder. Because of this, we don't necessarily have to rely on a screen on the back of the camera to judge our image quality, although this may be more suitable in certain situations. One downside of DSLR cameras is that this is moving into the more expensive side of videography. Although this is only relative to a point and shoot camera, there are certainly more expensive camera styles out there, which we'll come to shortly. As well as buying the camera body, you'll also need to consider the lens you'll be using. It's not unusual for the lens to be more expensive than the body, so some lengthy research into which kind of lens would suit your situation best is definitely recommended. Finally, the relative complexity of this style of camera compared to a point and shoot requires some learning. You can't just pick it up and run with it and expect the image to be mind-blowing. Having said this, many DSLRs do offer an auto feature which handles most of the settings for you, but you're not going to get an optimal image by using it. An example of the DSLR style of camera is this, the Canon EOS 650D, which you can buy for around £700 in the UK, and then customise your lens choices to something that fits your remaining budget. Of course, as with anything, if you have a larger budget, there are some advanced DSLR cameras which you can take advantage of. DSLRs, as well as their counterparts, the mirrorless camera, which we'll come to in just a moment, often record to SD cards, and so video storage is relatively cheap to buy. But DSLRs are decreasing in popularity for video, particularly for the upper end of mid-range production budgets, and that's due to the increasing popularity of the mirrorless camera. Mirrorless cameras are very similar in shape to a DSLR camera, however usually slightly lighter and thinner due to the lack of an internal mirror to reflect the image, hence the name mirrorless. In this kind of camera, the sensor detects the light directly through the lens and shows the user the subject on a screen built into the back of the camera, which is more often than not a touchscreen for ease of use. Mirrorless cameras also feature electronic shutters and so can offer higher shutter speeds and more frames per second for high-speed video. Despite the fact that mirrorless cameras are often smaller and lighter than DSLRs, image quality isn't sacrificed as there's usually a more advanced sensor on board for capturing the image. The price range of mirrorless cameras ranges wildly from the Panasonic Lumix G100 at around £400 to £500 in the UK, up to options such as the Sony A1 mirrorless going for £6,500. Mirrorless cameras are a fantastic choice for video production, with some of the more pricey cameras producing simply incredible quality video, such as the Canon EOS R5 offering 8K video resolution, which is slightly overkill for most people, and raw video recording, meaning many of the settings used during recording can be adjusted after the fact, such as altering the white balance and exposure. We'll be releasing a video on the benefits of using raw video formats in the near future, so make sure you've subscribed so you don't miss out on that. Digital camcorders are next on our list of camera types that you should know about. Indeed, this style of video camera has been around for decades, and I'm sure that everyone and their parents owned one of these for home videos back in the 90s and early 2000s. Because of this, they're quite often seen as outdated, but modern camcorders are surprisingly versatile. They can offer superb image quality, and it can be a very good choice if you aren't worried about taking photos, as they are generally designed with solely video in mind. The disadvantage of using a cheap camcorder is that many of the controls are fully automated, so once again you're going to be looking at a higher price tag to get any kind of custom control over your camera, but don't rule them out entirely. A great example of a camcorder with lots of customizable control and superb picture quality is the brand new Canon XF605, which we'll be reviewing here on the channel very soon. Broadcast cameras are designed to have the highest quality video output for real-time transmission. Although they're not specifically built for recording, they almost always do have a recording functionality on board. Most broadcast cameras feature numerous video outputs, from lower end rigs with HDMI up to more professional grade outputs over SDI. A great example of this is the Blackmagic Ursa Broadcast G2. This is a 6K camera which can output all the industry standard broadcast formats, but can also record as a Cine camera, meaning it's one of the most flexible cameras out there, and coming in at only £3,500, it's affordable for most production houses. Most broadcast cameras have numerous communication functionalities built in, such as talkback to the broadcast control room so the producer can tell the camera operator what to do, as well as using broadcast broadcast-specific lenses with humongous focal length ranges, meaning you can be ultra flexible when framing your shots in a broadcast studio without having to swap lenses constantly. Most broadcast lenses are pretty pricey, starting in the low thousands, but some of the most expensive broadcast lenses seen in the biggest studios can easily hit £250,000. Up next, action cameras. Everyone has heard of the GoPro, the seemingly indestructible camera you can take skydiving, swimming, you can blow it up, you can send it into space. What can't you do? Action cameras are designed to survive in the harshest of environments where it may not be suitable to take a multi-thousand-pound DSLR or mirrorless camera. Although action cameras nowadays can record up to 4K resolution, they aren't specifically designed to look beautiful. They're designed to capture footage that would normally be very difficult to capture. Having said that, they're also useful in less action-packed environments, such as fitting into small spaces to film where a regular camera may be too obtrusive, such as on a cymbal stand at a live music show to get a drummer cam style shot, or clipped onto the end of a guitar to get the guitar hero shot. Small cameras, but infinitely useful, especially as second cameras. Interestingly, the hugely popular Red Komodo 6K camera, hanging around at the higher end of the price range for most freelancer-owned cameras at around £5,000 to £6,000 depending on where you look, was originally conceived as a high-end single-use action camera designed to be destroyed during the filming of explosions or dangerous stunts, but still retain beautiful 6K footage with perfect reliability. Although nowadays it's almost always used as a cine camera for mid-range cinema productions by YouTubers and small film companies. Following on with what I just mentioned, Cine Cameras. These are the top-end professional cameras of the videography world, often with professional level price tags. This type of video camera will almost always require complete manual control by the operator. They are by far the most difficult to operate in terms of the amount of knowledge needed to get a good image from the camera, but once you have the theory nailed, they'll give you the best looking footage money can buy. Pretty much every movie ever has used some form of cine camera to capture the footage, from the original 70s Star Wars films using Panavision film cameras, right up to modern films such as Joker using the top-of-the-range Arri Alexa. Wherever you look in cinema, you can find examples of super expensive cameras producing super beautiful footage. As an example, the Arri Alexa Mini LF costs £60,000 for the body alone, and then you're looking at an extra £20,000 to £70,000 for an Arri lens, not including the accessories such as cables, which often break into 3 figures each, and so on. Cine cameras by Arri, Red and Sony are very expensive but provide an image unlike anything else on the market. But there is a way to get into the cine camera world without paying more than the price of the average house. Blackmagic Design is an Australian company offering cine quality kit for relatively low prices. Okay, it's not 100% possible to match the image from a £200,000 Arri camera setup, but you can get pretty close for not a lot of money, as long as your videography and colour grading skills are up to scratch. The Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K is a camera we use for this very YouTube channel, meaning we can record our videos at 6K resolution, giving us plenty of headroom for zooming in and out during the edit while still retaining full 4K quality for the final export. You can buy a Blackmagic 6K camera for around £1,500. However, because it's technically a cine camera, of course, it needs the aid of some extras to make it actually work on a film shoot. The internal battery in ours lasts less than 25 minutes, so you need an external power solution if you don't want to have your film shoot cut short. And if you need to add a camera cage for handles, hard drive bays, battery holders and external monitors, you can easily end up doubling the price, but the flexibility this type of camera will offer in terms of image quality and optical performance for such a relatively small price tag is certainly worth considering if you want to take your video to the next level. In general, professional range cameras often offer larger sensors, bigger ISO and aperture flexibility and more customization, but at a higher price point. It's not only the physical camera that costs the money, but also the post-production too. Firstly, cameras recording at high resolutions, such as our camera here recording at 6K, can consume massive amounts of data storage, hence having to record directly to an SSD or solid state drive. Standard SD card storage can be used, but in order to get the most from the camera, you're going to want to use the least compressed video quality possible, which can, and often does, result in file sizes exceeding 0.5 GB of footage per second of film, leading to huge projects measuring in the terabytes. Secondly, you'll also need a powerful computer to edit such high-resolution video files, so something like the MacBook Pro M1 Pro we reviewed recently is absolutely perfect for the job. If you enjoyed this video but you're still wondering what focal length, exposure and aperture mean, and you're still feeling a little confused about how to control your new camera, or you're wanting to move away from the automatic features to up your production quality, then you need to watch the video coming up on your screen right now, which explains all of that and more. Please remember to like, subscribe and ding the ding dong, and you'll see us in the next video.